This is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. So happy to be joined today by Catherine Koutsaris, who is Product Marketing Manager with Matrox Video. Topic of conversation is, of course, AV over IP, aligning with our AV over IP deep dive, which is all over commercialintegrator.com this month, as well as in the May issue of CI plus SSI, an in-depth report, everything to do with AV over IP. We had a great contribution from Matrox Video as part of that report, and that's one of the reasons why we invited Catherine on to share some of her insights in this forum as well. Thank you, Catherine, for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Dan. It's nice to speak to you again.
Always nice to speak to you. So let's get right into it. I'd like to talk to start about IPMX. Can you explain what it is a bit and also how it differs from other AV over IP protocols that might currently be in use?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So IPMX is an acronym. It stands for the Internet Protocol Media Experience, and it's created by the AIMS Alliance, or I should say developed by the AIMS Alliance. And the whole point is to bring operability and standards-based AV over IP to the Pro AV industry. So it's based largely on the very popular broadcast SMPTE 2110 standards, and it adds a bit of a Pro AV flavor to make it a little more widely accessible. But easier to use and integrate with in Pro AV applications. So you have features like system timing, control features, audio standards, compression, uncompression, video, compressed and uncompressed video, audio. All of it is standards based, but open standards. So it allows you to keep that high quality video, audio that you come to expect, of course, over IP, and makes it a little bit more suitable for AV applications like control rooms, video walls, live production, things like that. So what makes it different is that, like I mentioned, based on the SMPTE 2110 standards, but then based on other standards that are open as well, like AES-67 and NMOS, all of which are non-proprietary. So you're not tied to a specific vendor or that vendor's ecosystem. It creates an open ecosystem based on, again, open standards, and allows you to pull products and technology from different types of vendors and manufacturers all to come together to build your ecosystem ultimately.
Usually, IPMX is something that you are very, very knowledgeable about. Matrox Video has been a real leader in terms of waving the flag of. Do you want to talk a little bit about how Matrox Video is contributing to the development and the promotion of IPMX, and more broadly, just the idea of open
Mm.
standards within the AV industry?
Yeah, of course. So IPMX is really part of our key philosophy at Matrox. It's something that we talk about very openly. We're very proud to be strong supporters of it, and it's always a consideration in the product design level in our philosophy at Matrox. So we have products right now that are IPMX ready, and it's really great that we're able to show these at trade shows, different product categories working together. So we love to demo interoperability at shows and in our demo room back at headquarters as well. Um, we all have other products that don't necessarily have IPMX ready at the first revision, but very clear roadmaps to add features and add functionality to make them IPMX ready in the very near future. So it makes it very easy to build a Matrox infrastructure or ecosystem based on these products. But not just that, you can pull other vendors in and have a more complete ecosystem with Matrox and with third-party equipment altogether. And the evidence of that is at trade shows as well, because we've got our Matrox products on display, of course, but we've also got like NMOS controllers from other manufacturers. We've got IP cameras, we've got Dante audio devices, all showing how these products work together with ours. So it's part of our Matrox video vision is to incorporate IPMX ideally in all of our products, or at least all of our future products coming out, and also always looking to partner with other manufacturers to see, how can our products work together to, have technology and business partners with them um, in order to build better workflows for our customers, essentially.
As I say, Matrox Video is a real champion for open standards. You just mentioned, the idea of multi-vendor environments, multi-vendor interoperability. So from the integrator's perspective, and that's ultimately what we center most of all, because commercial integrators, you see, integrators right in the name. So that is who we center in our way of thinking. What are the practical benefits of AV systems with open standards for them, for the integrator, for the
Mhm.
channel partner?
Yeah, well, integrators have some very interesting challenges ahead of them. There are so many products on the market, so many different technologies. And when they say the devil's in the details, like really, when you're comparing different SKUs, different vendors, it's really about, specing the right products for your workflow, for what your customer really needs. So If you're stuck with a single manufacturer or you always have one go-to ecosystem that you spec out, I mean, that's great. You get to know that ecosystem really well. But one of the practical benefits of considering something like IPMX or an open standards-based ecosystem is that it offers you a lot of variety. So let's say let me think as an example. Let's say you chose one vendor or one ecosystem. You base your whole installation around that, and that's kind of your go-to. But what if that vendor all of a sudden they start introducing maybe new features that could break the functionality of how you're already using, let's say, their products, or they decide they wanted to EOL certain product lines, or they have, low inventory because for whatever manufacturing reason, part shortages, component shortages, whatever, and you can't get new stock, or they decide they want to raise their prices or add a licensing or subscription model, which is so popular these days. It feels like everything is going towards licensing and subscription models. So all of these changes, which are not unprecedented. Just as the market evolves, companies make certain decisions with their product offering. But at the end of the day, it all impacts your bottom line, your system design, what you can do, not do, and could impact whether or not this ecosystem continues to be a good fit for your customers over time. So from an integrator's perspective, I mean, I think it's always great to have as many tools in your toolkit, in your mental catalog that you can offer your customers. And having something like open standards is great because you're not tied to one company's decision to EOL a product line, for example. You'll have lots of different vendors contributing to your potential workflow. And ultimately, having the open standards drives innovation across all of these manufacturers because you can have, a single product with multiple vendors and they have to differentiate themselves among other companies. So they're striving to put out the best product, the best prices, the best service, and competition really does drive innovation. And having something like open standards, we're hoping will, raise the tide on everyone. So,
I think that's absolutely true. And you mentioned before the idea of, this is going to be a solution that lasts over time. You want to make
mhm,
sure that any client outcome, any client solution or system is going to last over the long term. And it seems to me like open standards like IPMX in particular are going to help future-proof AV system investments, make sure that they're not going to
mhm.
have a short lifespan where they need to be ripped and replaced, but rather can last for the long haul.
Yep, exactly. So it's not just when you're speccing out your project or doing the installation that you want to consider these things. You want to think about down the line. What if the control room grows? What if they want to add seats, make some changes to their workflows? It's normal as a project evolves, as a building changes, as infrastructure needs change. Your products need to reflect that or your workflows reflect that. And ideally, they come back to you as an integrator to make those changes. So um, whether let's say you lock into a certain company, a certain vendor to design out the whole ecosystem, but then down the line, your customer says, "Oh, I don't know, I want to add a touch panel for control. I want to add another camera. I want to support a different kind of accessory." Okay, that's great. But does this ecosystem support that new accessory or that change? Or your new bandwidth requirements, for example, I don't know, it could be anything. But sometimes the answer is yes, and that's great. Sometimes it's not. And then what do? You can't necessarily go outside of the ecosystem and look at other manufacturers, depending on how proprietary this ecosystem is. So, in terms of future-proofing installations, future-proofing, you know, any kind of change basically that your customer wants to make to their workflow, having something like open standards is a great option to consider when you're initially speccing it because you can look at multiple manufacturers to find the best product to suit that need. And our hope, at least at Matrox, as we go on talking about our philosophy of open standards, is that more vendors come on board, more vendors, more integrators, consultants, everyone really sees the benefits of working together as an industry to create um, to create this I guess standards that really reflects the needs of 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 our people in the AV industry. So as more vendors and or more manufacturers come out with IPMX ready products, ideally they all work together. That's the idea. If you're IPMX compatible, they should just work together. So as more vendors get on board, you'll have more options and that just really unlocks a lot of potential for AV workflows.
There's no doubt about it. And Matrox Video, again, no doubt a true champion for not only IPMX, but also open standards broadly. And I think you've been a great expositor of that message here today. Thank you so much, Catherine, for joining me. Always a pleasure to chat with you. I hope we can chat again real soon.
I hope so too. I look forward to seeing you at InfoComm.
I will see you there. Thank you again, Catherine Koutsaris, who is Product Marketing Manager with Matrox Video. My name is Dan Farisi, Group Editor, Commercial and Security with Emerald. As I said at the outset, please do keep your eyes on commercialintegrator.com in the days and weeks ahead as we continue to cover AV over IP and IPMX. And check out the May issue of CI plus SSI, where we have our AV over IP deep dive, including a great contribution from Matrox Video. Again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you back here real soon.